Hello and welcome to the WordPress theming tutorial series for wptutorial.info and CreativeCreed.com. My name is Chris and I will be leading you through this tutorial. In this part, we want to make sure that we get everything set up. This includes, as we're working on Macintosh, to install MAMP as a testing server locally, and to install WordPress. If you've already done so, you may skip to step 2. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and go to mamp.info, and we want to download the current version of the free MAMP distribution. And I will do so. While MAMP is downloading, we can go ahead and go to wordpress.org and download the current version of WordPress. And we're going to download it to the desktop, unzip it, and throw away the zip file. Okay, once we download the MAMP server, we will install it and we will, of course, agree to the licensing. Of course, you should carefully read this and then make your own decision whether you want to accept it or not. Unless you want to buy MAMP Pro, I suggest to just use the regular MAMP and drag it into your applications folder, like so. I already have a current version of MAMP installed on my computer, but if you don't want to go ahead and continue the process here, when the process is done, you simply start up MAMP, and then we continue with the WordPress installation. Okay, once your MAMP installation is completed, you may start your MAMP server. You might have to enter a password every time you start or stop it, depending on what settings you have. Once you've started up your MAMP, you will be greeted with a welcome screen in your default browser. It'll give you all kinds of information, such as the default password, the default user, the default port for MySQL, and over this top navigation you can navigate to phpMyAdmin and create a new database with a name to your liking. In my case, I will name the database WordPress and create. We don't need to create any tables or any information other than this. WordPress will do all of that for us in a second. Now we're ready to install WordPress, which is a pretty straightforward process as well. We can go ahead and dismount this if you haven't already done so. This is our WordPress folder here. We can now navigate to the MAMP folder, and in the MAMP folder there's an htdocs folder. You can go ahead and put yourself a little link, a little alias on your desktop, but you will probably have to use it a lot. Go ahead and drag your WordPress folder into the htdocs folder. So now we're going to go ahead and open the start page, highlight and remove the later part of your URL, and replace it with the folder name of the WordPress installation that we just put into our htdocs folder. And in our case, that's WordPress. And now we are greeted with there's no configuration file message, which is exactly how it's supposed to be, since this is the part that we're about to do the installation to create this configuration file. So we're going to go ahead and click create configuration file, and it says, okay, we're going to need this information, and since this is our local machine, we don't have to worry about that since we know all of that information. And the database name is WordPress, that's already correct. The username will be root, as well as the password. Of course, when you deploy this on a live server, you should make sure that you pick a username that nobody can ever guess, and as well as a password that nobody could ever guess, and then you're fine. And many providers will give you a database connection string, or you will have a menu where you can find a database connection string which you can then manually insert into the config file, or then decipher and enter the information here, as well as your database host, which is not necessarily always localhost. Okay, so but for this we're good to go. We can hit submit, and then, well, it seems we've already done everything right, and click run the install. Now it wants a little bit of more information, and we're going to go ahead and give it that information. You're going to enter your site title, and for me that's going to be WordPress tutorial or WP tutorial. My username is going to be admin, and my password here for this purpose will be 12345. And it already warns me, well, that's probably not the best password, and but that's fine. And I don't want my site to be appearing in Google or Technorati right now, but of course if I care to deploy it, then it would be the best to leave that checked. As for the email here, enter your email. For me, I'll just enter my email, but you can just enter gibberish too, because no email will be sent here, as you probably not installed any email servers on your local machine, nor allow your machine to communicate with anything. Okay, then you hit install, and wonderful, it should work, and we can go ahead and log in. And admin 12345, and there we have our WordPress installed. We can go to the website and see, wow, wonderful, this standard beautiful boilerplate theme works, and has a welcome message and a hello world message for us. Minimize or close your window, go to your htdocs folder, go into your WordPress folder. Now we want to create an alias of a folder in our WordPress folder. It's under WordPress, WP content, WP themes. And in here, we'll first of all create a new folder. And the new folder will have our template name. So think of a good name and name the folder accordingly. So in my case, it's going to be simple, just WP tutorial. And when we have that, we're going to go ahead and make an alias of that folder, simply because we're going to have to go back to that folder a lot. We move that alias to the desktop, and now we remove the alias part of its name just because it looks stupid. And we're almost done. Now in this tutorial we will be transferring an existing HTML website into WordPress, into a WordPress theme. So in case you do not have an HTML ready website, you will have to make one in order to follow this tutorial. However, you might be able to gather the necessary information to start off from scratch. So in your WordPress tutorial, now that we got the alias, we can close it and reopen it. In that WordPress tutorial folder, we want to go ahead and start our Dreamweaver or our other program with which we can edit HTML and PHP files. Open our CSS and our HTML of our existing site. We want to go ahead and create a new site. And the new site, you guessed it, will point to your theme folder, in my case WP Tutorial. And if you like, we can give our site a fancy name. How about website? So now that we created a website, we can go ahead and save our CSS in our MAMP, htdocs, WordPress, content, themes, and WordPress tutorial, or your theme name. CSS name will be style.css. And we don't want to update any links. Okay, so let's close the old version of style.css and need some additional information. To find out how this information looks, we can take a look at the file of the 2010 template. We're not copying anything per se, but we will use it as a template to find out how things are supposed to be sorted. Okay, so we see here we need a theme name, we need a theme URI, a description, an author, a version, and license if we want to go ahead and publish it. So we can go ahead and copy it and paste that, and we're going to just simply strip this of all the information and strip it of license if you wish, and the tags. And now of course you can put in your information. So in my case it will be WP tutorial. The theme URI will be wptutorial.info. The description will be your description for your theme. And of course, in case you want to publish your themes, you should pick something that is helpful. In my case, this theme will not be published, so I can pick whatever I want. So I can just say WordPress tutorial theme, and the author of this theme am I, and the version is 0.1. Tags: yellow, gray, white borders. And then that's it. In case you want to publish it, you might want to go ahead and check on wordpress.org for certain rules and limitations for licenses and what you can do. Okay, so then we can go ahead and save, and then we can go ahead and thank the WordPress team for their helpful style.css that showed us how to do it. We can go ahead and close it. We can now create new files. These will be empty for now. It will be a header.php, then we need a footer.php, and we will have a single.php, a page.php, and a page of posts.php, and also a sidebar.php. Now we installed MAMP, we installed WordPress, we created a folder for our theme, including the CSS file, including file shells of our future theme. And thus concludes part 1 of our tutorial, since we now did all the necessary preparations.